I'm going to talk to you about questioning in this session. Now, questioning is directly linked to listening, and we covered listening in lots of detail in the last 3 videos. Questioning's critical, and to understand questioning is critical in any of your relationships, because otherwise you find yourself constantly talking or pitching. Questions are the answer to overcome that issue with feeling pressured in a conversation. Once you work on the quality of your questions, it transforms your ability to communicate and interrelate with people. So when I was a sales manager years ago, and actually even to this day when I run training programs on coaching and I run training programs on sales leadership, one thing I notice time and time again is that people will find themselves unintentionally using closed questions. I'll talk about the difference between open and closed questions in a moment. But what happens is people in stressful situations, so if you're in a high pressure client meeting or a pressure situation with a member of your team or a peer or even a senior leader, I don't know why, but the majority of people find that they tend to default then to closed questions. And what closed questions do is shut down the conversation. They make it really difficult for you in the conversation to maintain momentum and maintain flow because your questions keep shutting people down. Now, the difference that it makes is it enables you to either open up a conversation or continually struggle to keep it going, and you find that conversation might be stilted. I've seen it as a coach when I've worked with my teams, and I've seen it in training sessions when I talk to people about the difference between those 2 types of questions. And even when they think they're asking open questions, they will be actually asking closed questions. It's an odd thing. So today is very much like the previous listening video. It's about awareness. So today I'd like you to become more aware of your questioning. Let's talk about the difference. So at a fundamental basic level, there are 2 types of questions: open questions and closed questions. And they do what it sounds like they do. So open questions will open up a person, open up the conversation. Closed questions will do the opposite. They will close people down, and generally speaking, closed questions can only be answered with a yes or a no. And if you're unlucky, you might get a don't know. But generally speaking, it's a yes or a no. Open questions, on the other hand, will be answered with whatever's in that person's mind. And let's talk about and look at some examples. So any closed question is going to start with did or do. So did you do this? Do you do that? Yes or no. Have you done this? Yes or no. Can you do this? Yes or no. Will you do this? Yes or no. Are you doing this? Yes or no. So it's do, did, have, can, will, are. Okay? You don't really want to focus on those. That's just for your information. What you want to focus on is open questions. Now, open questions are like magic. Once you understand the power of starting a question with the right words so that it becomes open, it will transform the answers you get, the conversations you have, the dialogue you have, and your ability to influence and understand other people. Open questions start with what or how. There are others which I'll come to in a moment, but if you can get yourself to start thinking about asking questions, and the start of that question, you just get to remembering what or how, you will be opening the questioning with the person that you're speaking to. So what or how. Now you can use why, you can use where, when, who. Where, when, who are open questions, but they'll generally give you a shorter answer as well. So what and how are where the magic happens. You can ask why, and why is important because it gets to purpose and it gets to the core of the discussion. However, why needs to be used with caution. And I always talk to my clients about using the question beginning with why with caution with other people. Because when you think back to childhood, whether it was your parents, teachers, adults generally, as a child, we experience a really negative emotional connotation and connection to the question, why? Why did you do that? Why is this happening? And why is a very difficult question to ask without creating an emotional response. Now, if you want an emotional response, go for it. But if you want to become more measured in your questioning, asking what are you thinking of at the moment? Or what are your plans for the week? And how are you going to do that? How can I help you? How can I support you? How did you come to that conclusion? Using what or how as the structure for your questions will really help to develop your open questioning skills. And you combine that with the listening that we've covered already, and we are halfway to coaching. So I set you this challenge. Become more aware of the questions that you ask. If you have difficult relationships, if there are people that you're talking to and it never feels like it quite flows, it may be because the questions you're asking are closed. And if you're feeling discomfort in that relationship and in that conversation, strange as it sounds, you will be defaulting to closed questions. So examine your own questions, start to think about the quality of them, and get this focus on open questioning. What and how? It will transform your ability to relate to people, and it will help you to become less stuck with certain relationships. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that challenge. Best of luck with it. In the next video, we'll talk about questioning further and the types of questions. Once you understand open questions, how do you start to create some real quality content within your questions? We'll talk about that next time, but I look forward to hearing how you get on with this challenge, and I will see you on the next video in the Leadership Success Series from Focus for Growth.